Baldur's Gate 2. Baldur's Gate 2. I'll be honest, I've dabbled in this game before, but I really didn't realise how much content there is here. I didn't realise how much more there was in the first game. If I had to quantify it, I'd say it's a fuckload more. I played a few hours of this game about 10 years ago, and I barely scratched the surface. I didn't even realise you went to other areas other than the city. Now, just to preface, Google was my best friend during this whole thing, because while the magic is fun and powerful, it is also an absolute clusterfuck when you don't know how to clear magic weapon resistance, magic resistance, globe, and all the rest of it. So really I insist if this is your first time playing the game, to just get on Google and just make sure you know what everything's doing when you're trying to solve these fights. Even on normal, you will struggle on some of these. Like, normal is still hard. It's been said before, but it is just the first game, but more, and that isn't a bad thing. It's awesome, but of course it still has a lot of similar issues. The pathfinding is still absolute trash. There's a barrier to entry if you don't know any of the spells. There's a bit of backtracking that I didn't like, but overall everything is better, and the backgrounds were so much better. I really disliked the look of the first game's backgrounds, but they really worked a lot harder on making them more varied and interesting in this game, and it shows. Also, maybe I wasn't paying attention, in the first game, but man, one of the big issues I had with this game is there just isn't enough voice acting, because all of the voice acting in the game is really good. Like, it's really funny. I'm sure, I haven't looked it up, but a lot of the cast, I'm sure, is just really good, and I just wish there was more of it.
For my amusement, for my curiosity, and for my memory of transgressions long since past, all of this spurred me on, but I grew bored with you.
Also, I'd like to just throw in that after posting the video for the first game a couple of weeks ago, I learned that the Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 were developed by a pretty small team compared to today's games. I didn't realise that Baldur's Gate 1 is basically BioWare's first game, and it doesn't affect my score of the game, but it is really impressive. So, starting off, the starting dungeon is actually really fun and interesting, and it really shows you how much exploration is going to be rewarded in the game. Luckily, Jahira's boyfriend is dead in this one, so I could tell her to fuck off, and Minsk, the fucking idiot. So, I think playing through the first game here benefited me massively. I can see the start being confusing as fuck to the modern gamer, but I enjoyed it because it really sets the tone. Also, it gave me a side quest you do later on, which is bonus points. Being high level gives the combat a completely different feel. Some fights play out like a fun little puzzle, and now you've got all these spells at the tips of your fingers, it is like that. But then some of them play out like a puzzle from Saw, where you get ripped to pieces and put back together 25 times. I'm looking at you, watch a seal fight. Combat feels much better at a higher level, with more spells and buffs, as well as your frontline fighters being more resilient due to the increased health and better items early on. Later on, at around level 20, most classes get this thing called high level abilities, which are freaking powerful and fun as well. And it was a good unexpected surprise, because I didn't know about them, which it seems like it'll give the game a good amount of replay just through all the classes having their own different skills, which I haven't looked them up, so I'm interested to check some of them out at a later date. Also, while you're playing the game Haste, it's my best friend, and it should be your best friend too. If you need to get somewhere faster, you use Haste. If you want to attack twice as fast, you use Haste. If you want to cast twice as fast, you want to use Haste. I really can't express how much value I got out of Haste. City exploration in the City of Arm feels sick as well, and all the guild crap going on, paired with saving and slashing men and women down left and right, rescuing acting troops from another dimension, and crawling through the filth in the sewers, are all sick as hell. There is a lot of back and forth in the city at times, and I'm sure it is probably skippable if you know what you're doing, but if you follow the main quest, there is a lot of back and forth, which did kill my vibe for a while. I've covered the start dungeon, so we can skip that. Come out of the dungeon, John Arenicus magics all over some grey spell fodder, then lets himself an ammo and get captured and dragged off to magic prison for casting spells in the city, quickly establishing that the City of Arm is a no spell zone. I'm sure there's more than one way to get permission to use spells in the city, but because I carried my barbarian over from the first game, it wasn't an issue for me, so I didn't bother chasing it up. The first quest you usually find is a circus taking over by some great and powerful gnome guy, So naturally I do it, setting the tone and letting you dive straight into a good little side quest that offers a new companion. A strong point in this game is that most of the quests I've done feel like well-contained little stories that, if you can be bothered to get yourself immersed in, are pretty interesting. And just like the first game, there's usually a bit of funny banter in them. After the circus, you run to the slums and meet a member of the Shadow Thieves who offers to help get Emon back for 15k, which when I played this game in the past I thought was a ludicrous sum, but now that I've played the first game I've realised this is pocket change and you'll basically find more than 15k worth of loot in every decent dungeon in the game. I think I'm just going to try and lightly go over most of the stuff I did in the game, so there's obviously going to be spoilers from this point on. The early chapters I really didn't go out of my way to do everything, just the stuff I found interesting or the stuff that would give me decent rewards while pushing the plot forward, which is still a lot of stuff. I completed the first game in about 30-ish hours with no knowledge, and in this game I nearly pushed 20 hours before I felt like the plot was moving, and that's not a bad thing. I really enjoyed most of this early rigmarole. I picked up Korgar Blood Axe at the pub, and I think Korgar is my favourite companion that I picked up in this game. I think BioWare jumped the gun making him chaotic evil though. He feels more lawful evil to me, or else he wouldn't just be chilling at the local watering hole. But me and Korgar are like two peas in a pod. My barbaric is a chaotic neutral, where in the first game I was a bit of a brooding, selfish, tough guy who just wanted to be free of Sarevok's interfering. But after all the shit Sarevok and Irenicus put me through, and all the people in the city of Baldur's Gate being assholes, even though I saved them from enslavement or worse, so I went full-blown egotistical killing machine in this game. If it isn't nailed down or you won't give it to me, and it's worth something or we need it, me and Korgar are going to cut you down and split the spoils, just as it should be. So Korgar tells me there's some old book him and his crew were going to get, so we go down to the graveyard tombs, which we do quite a few times, but this first crawl through it was really good and felt really well balanced to our level. So we go to get it, it's not there, his boys took it. I'll throw in here we do the exact same thing for Edwin a bit later, but the book is there, so I guess this is just where dead guys keep their books. So we do some investigating and find out these guys are loitering on top of the copper coronet, so we go and feed them some cold steel, get the book, starting off a long glorious tradition for me and Korgar. Then we went inside to quench our thirst, but once we realised we were still thirsty, bloodthirsty. So me and Korgar quickly sniffed out a slave and prostitution ring in the pub, and we realised we could make a bit of gold, free some slaves, and quench our bloodthirst, while making us look like the good guys. 3 birds, 1 stone. Also, after what Irenicus did to me, I can't say I don't have a bit of a soft spot in my heart for the slaves. From there we went to the Shadow Thieves Guild, where we get involved in some petty theft, a bit of murder, thankfully, extortion, and a backstabbing plot. This is where we get Edwin, and he is also one of the bros. He can lob out a good bit of arcane firepower for the lads, which we sorely needed at this point. I had enough gold to pay for Emon's rescue, so I did, which gave us some free time. While they moved the money around, we decided to spend a little bit of time adventuring and find more blood for the thirst. So we headed off to Umar Hills, because Korgar was chirping about keeping his reputation, so we're going to go do the coward wizard's dirty work, which leads us to another companion, Valigar, who I didn't spend much time with because his cause didn't align with mine, but he did seem like an alright guy, and we need his body to open a teleporting interdimensional 8-ball. So I didn't see any reason to carry his body the whole way there, so he tags along so we could strip it bare. I don't think anything here was particularly challenging, but another fun little one-shot. There was also a shadow dragon owning an evil guy in the Umar Hills, kind of a Sauronish guy, that we dealt with because he was killing the local population, further leading to the illusion that me and Korgar aren't that bad. Although we are. The dragon fight was a tough little challenge, but at this point I did sort of start getting the hang of the magic system, but it was a bit of a fluke when I killed him. I must have rolled all 20s, honestly. Oh, and there were some bullshit puzzles in the dungeon as well, so read all the scrolls and stuff, you'll get it, but I didn't read them the first time. Around about this time, I recommend heading to Watcher's Keep. I was about level 12 and just clear the first level. You can buy some stuff from the priest because it's quite handy. There's a few good early weapons in here. There's like nothing game breaking. Maybe if you've specced into it, but the main meat and potatoes coming here early was to grab an ammo belt and a quiver of plenty and a potion case. There is nowhere else in the game until you get to Throne of Baal, as far as I know, to get the potion case and the ammo belt. And I'm telling you, if this is your first time playing the game, you're going to need them because you don't know what you need to keep or throw away. It's one of those. After that, we did the Temple of the Eye quest, which actually do feature some little things linked back to the Shadow Dragon quest we just did. Just some stuff to do with the gods, which I did, and I stumbled into them back to back, which it really helped me feel more invested in the things around here. So it leads us to the sewers to crawl around in the filth. We get to kill some beholders at this point, and luckily I picked up the shield of Baldur on prior with the money from the sphere and the dragon. So things really did line up well for me here, and I love this quest. Fighting the beholders just felt so awesome, man. I mean, when you click on the game on Steam, the picture you see is someone fighting a beholder, and just all the lore surrounding them if you're that kind of nerd like I am. After that, we go back to the Church of Helm, and they gave us another quest, and they mentioned Prism, which is a really funny guy from the first game, and it's like, this game is just full of little callbacks like that, so I'm really happy I played the first one, you know, like in the first one, if you kill Drist, he comes back for his stuff, which me and Korgar in this game couldn't be more thrilled about, and then we tried to fight a Demi-Lich in the city. He shit on me a lot, so I continued with the main story, with the Shadow Thieves fighting vampires, which led to the vampire base. I get there, I meet Bodhi, she tells me a bunch of stuff that I already knew, but I couldn't trust the thieves, tell me something I don't know, and how that they're not trying to get Imoen out, and she tells us, or hints at, that she's Irenicus' sister, so that's why she's involved here. And then the thieves boss, we go back to him, Aaron Linvale, told me he was seen if I was a spy, which once again I already could have guessed. I mean, they're a guild of thieves, it makes perfect sense, so it's just a lot of stuff that we already know that people are telling us. So once we do all that, we have all the money, we set sail to, I think it's called Brynlaw or something, but the first time you go there, you don't regenerate health, and as soon as you get there, you're in a fight, so I ran all the way around town, backtracking, so I can heal to full.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
So we can go back to him and set sail again to the island of Brynlaw, which is a lawless prison island, like a desert. I think it's kind of inspired by Australia. It turns out when we get there, he's a snake, like I just said, the captain. There are more vampires, we have to fight them just as we've got through Bodhi. And then on the island there's another whorehouse, and we kill all them and sort that out to get a good word in from some trader or some pirate. And we talk to the guy so we can go to Azkaban. Yoshi knows him anyway, so we didn't need to do any of it there, so he sends us there. I don't know how this plays out if you don't have Yoshi in your party, because I'm sure you can get rid of him and not have him, and you'll still be able to get there. I just don't know how it would work out, because there's a whole bit with Yoshima here, which I won't spoil, but I wish I didn't bring him. So they take us to prison, and they leave us all our toys and weapons and armor, which I appreciate. And we get there, and John Irenicus is the new warden, and he's got all the pirates on the boat to feed us up on knockout gas or pills or whatever. He then traps me and sucks the soul out of me in front of my sister, the dirty bugger. Turns out him and his sister are divines and needed our bile juice to get back to whatever he's up to. I'm sure you could have found an easier God's kid somewhere in this world. I have no clue why he decided to pick the son and daughter of the god of murder. It's in the name. So after that, we get thrown into a maze, and we're chased by Bodhi. There's a few puzzles here as well, and they're all pretty shit, if I'm honest. There's a token machine somewhere in this asylum maze, spellhold maze or whatever, but I didn't find it. It's got some pretty good items in it, and I suggest if you come here, maybe Google it and look it up, because I didn't even realise it was here until I basically finished the game, and you can't go back. So yeah, I'm not really a fan of the puzzles, but I'm just not a fan of puzzles in general, unless it's got combat in it, or it's Portal 1 and 2. We turn into an evil horror and fuck Bodhi up. We get back to the docks after killing a guy for a horn. We kill the pirate lord, and somehow he came back when we leave. And when we leave, we get ambushed by Githyanki, disguised as Warcraft 3 trolls. Then as we shipwreck, we get saved by some pretty chill shark dudes. Unfortunately, I'm a pretty unchill Balspawn guy after everything that's happened to me, so naturally I kill them all. I love the voice actor for the Shark King, I really like the Shark City, and it was a pleasant surprise, as I had no idea this race even existed. Supposedly they're just always in a civil war, so they don't get up to much. It seems to be a running theme in the Underdark races, they're just always at war, they hate each other, they're trapped in the dark. I get it.
These are the strange creatures from the surface.
So we get to the Underdark, kill some elementals, we collapse a cave with a demon in it, we went and killed some demons for a belt to build a hammer later on, then we get abducted by mind flayers, and we battled our way out, we turned into the demon spawn again to eat the Mega Brain, and then we went to a silver dragon whose eggs were stolen. She turns us into a drow so we can infiltrate the city and work as a drow. We proceed to sex up the princess in lightning quick fashion. I think it took about 6 hours between her meeting me to me banging her and killing her whole family, which is a record. We steal the dragon eggs, we get a bunch of knockoff dragon eggs for some reason, but I didn't need them because I just killed everyone, and then I slash stab and kick my way out of the city, give the dragon the eggs. I mean, the whole drow city is sick, the whole vibe here is really good. I'm into the entire chapter down here. I didn't realise all the drow men were simps, but it makes sense because my main character is a simp for Viconia. If you can't beat them, join them, I guess. But I also did beat them, don't forget that. And if these guys double-cross their wives, the drow, their god turns them into half spider, half man freakazoids. So there's that. After the Underdark, we popped out in a forest, so a few elves could whinge about Irenicus, and then they bound my dark-skinned babe to me in a good old-fashioned elf-gear's wedding, and then I went to work getting some lamp, acquiring some more interesting and powerful gear. I paid Cromwell to make it all, and I got the Flail of Ages, and then I did the rest of Watcher's Keep. One of the seal fights was the hardest in the game by far, and I lost all of Viconia's gear, but it was worth the sacrifice. The worst thing I lost was Starfire. Unfortunately, I smoked the other seal fights, I killed the Demogorgon in one. It turns out the priests were double crossing snakes and they were trying to get us stuck there, but you get more XP for leaving them alive than killing them, so we left them alive. Me and Viconia make sweet love in a basement full of flayed corpses. Must be her people's tradition or something, I don't know. We head back to the City of Arm for the lamp. Someone suggested we get some help to take out Bodhi and her band of bloodsuckers, but at this point me and Korgan were so geared that we just steamrolled through Bodhi's hideout for the second time. Plus I don't think we made that many friends on this adventure anyway. So we grabbed the lamp off of Bodhi. Don't forget to stake the boat in her bedroom to get it. It doesn't really explain itself. I don't think it's in the journal. You have to use the stakes on the weird box thing in her room. Then we take the elves back, this guy Elf and his lamp, which we used to clear a spell. I did start to lose a bit of steam at this point, and I think it's because I waited till Act 6 to run around and grab all my upgrades, which I probably should have done in the earlier chapters, I think chapter 3. So I get inside the city, and Irenicus has used tiger shape-shifting magic to fuck everyone up, so we get to work clearing it out and sorting out this god soul situation. We talk to a priest, and it turns out Irenicus used to be top lad amongst the elves because of his powerful magic, but he went a bit rogue and gave the Tree of Life the old soul suck-off treatment that he gave me, but it didn't work, so they kicked him out. So he's throwing a tantrum, and I imagine he's back for something with the tree, I suppose. We bump into a dragon who's got a cup that I need, supposedly. It's news to me. So we sort him out, then we head to the palace. It turns out we need some more elven junk to summon Groot so he can unlock the palace. Also, you get the option to refuse to help the priest do everything in the city, but no matter what, you have to do everything in the city. We get back to the palace, me and Viconia make sweet sex one last time before the big hoedown and confront Irenicus. I honestly felt the ending was a bit lackluster because it basically just boils down to the elves didn't kill Irenicus when he pulled the same shit like 2 weeks ago, so he's back to do it again. Which really just means I got dragged into a load of bullshit because these fucking elves. So I kill Irenicus and we get dragged to hell before me and Korgar can go on one of our famous killing rampages. All in all, I think the game is really good, and I'll whack a 9 out of 10 on it because there is just so much fun storytelling here. The combat is really fun and leagues better than the first game. The companions are so much better and fleshed out in this game. Making legendary weapons at Cromwell's, it all just comes together to be a really fucking fun game. Also, the replay value on this game must be insane, which is pretty incredible for the time, especially because just like the first game, it was such a great year for games in general. The only game I can think that would have as much replayability as this one is Diablo 2 from the time, which I might review at some point. The legacy this game has is well earned, even if the latter half did start to lose me a bit, but I felt that way about the first game, so maybe it's more of a me problem than a game problem. And you can buy this game for like $5 sometimes, and I honestly can't think of any other RPG that you get this kind of value for money in. Hey, if you made it to the end of this rambling, I really appreciate you, and any comments, positive or negative, are welcome. Please like this and subscribe if you're interested in any more of this, and if you have any games you want me to review, just chuck them in the comments below, and I'll see what I think. Cheers, lads.